Hello and welcome, everybody. I am your host today. At this hour, at least, we have so many incredible Zooms coming up for you guys. This is just one of many today. And my name is Adrienne Ruiz. I live in Austin, Texas, and I just want to welcome you. So you guys might be chiming in, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at. And so welcome. And today, really, I'm excited because I want to share a little bit more about my story, if that's okay with you guys, and how I ended up partnering with this incredible global e-commerce business called Three. So, my husband and I have had several years of experience in this profession, and it's definitely become a profession for both of us, but specifically me, because where I started before this, I'll just give you a little background. I used to do outside sales and marketing for a radiator and AC company, and I would help with what they were, sharing, between insurance companies and body shops and, all sorts of stuff. And they had a big fleet of cars, and they just had this really just a basic traditional business, but I was that one key person that was going out and generating, profits for them. And so it was a lot of stress, right? You probably don't even know what stress feels like, right? You probably do. But stress, it was a lot of stress at that time. I was wearing many hats. And then also just sidebar, when I first got out of high school, I got so excited about health and wellness. That really was my passion, right? Selling radiators and, doing marketing and things like that was just, what I was doing with that side of my family business. It wasn't something that I really had a passion and a drive for, even though I was really good at it. And I did find value in that people realized I was really good at my job, my 9 to 5. But my passion was what was my passion since I graduated high school at 18 years old, which was helping people with their health and wellness. You see, at that time, I had two grandparents pass away within a short time frame, from things that were related to health and wellness that could have been prevented. They were both really preventable, sugar issues, heart issues, things like that. And that's really what sparked me into wanting to help people be happier and healthier. And so that's been my true driving passion. You're probably thinking the same thing. You might have a 9 to 5 right now going on in your life, but it might not be your passion. And that's when I started looking for other ways that supported, my desires, my entrepreneurial spirit, to come out and say, okay, what do I really want to do? Because even when I was doing personal training, and this is going to age me a bit, but maybe some of you guys remember the gym Lifestyles 2000. Okay. It was a gym back in the day called Lifestyles. And it was that's where I started. Okay. I'll put it that way. And then it turned into Gold's Gym. And now we have Vasa and things like that. Right. So these gym type places. And so at the same time there, even as a personal trainer, partnering up with somebody, and I wasn't as responsible, but it was one-on-one, sales. Really, I would take on one client at a time or a few clients at a time. And then it turned into really part-time when I transitioned into helping out my family business at the time, which was radiators and AC parts. And so I share this with you because maybe at one point you had this entrepreneurial desire, right? You had this vision of wanting to be your own boss, right? Of wanting to be able to take charge of where you're at and not have to ask people, if you needed time off, or, when to take that phone call or when to take that trip, et cetera. And that's been ultimately, if we go before 18 years old, right, that's ultimately been where I have always kind of thrived, is this idea of being my own boss and not having to really answer to anybody. I never wanted to be blocked into these four-wall cubicle. That wasn't me, which is so funny because I was I feel like I'm just saying stuff right now, but just hear me out. This is going to make sense in a second when we dive into this business model and why I said yes. Because at one time I was that person in the mall who would ask you if you would come do a survey, right? For random products. And I was their top recruiter for that because I could be walking around and I was free. I was kind of free to do my own thing. So I think I thought I had freedom in the recruiting, for the survey person being that annoying person. I hated it actually. I was good at it, but I hated it. And then also had a little bit of freedom because I traveled so much with the radiators and ACs, and had a little bit of freedom with how many one-to-one or coaching I was doing with personal training, but ultimately not quite freedom. And so, I mean, that's really what brought it home. And so let me share with you guys a little bit more about what I mean. I'm a very visual person, so I'm going to share some slides with you guys so you can understand a little bit more about what I mean here. And talking about the way that we're changing, the way that everything is shifting, right? Shifting in this economy, to be able to provide a more entrepreneurial platform for people who like, maybe you are like me in that way where you don't want to have to answer to anybody but yourself, right? And so that's really where this all came from. But if we really dive in here to what we're doing, we're going to talk about how business has evolved, right? The evolution of the business model as we know it today. So when, I'm talking about being a kid, things like that, like from a very, very young age, you guys, this is so funny. I think I made beeswax candles and roll them up. Like, do you guys remember those beeswax sheets of beeswax? And I put a wick in it and I'd roll it up and then I would go sell them door to door. Like that was me. I had a wagon. I didn't have a stand, but that picture does have a little bit of a wagon. And so when we talk about that type of business, maybe you could relate back to your childhood where we're talking about like a lemonade stand, right? Or something like that, where it's word of mouth, like you're going door to door, or it's word of mouth, you're sharing with others, and it's like a DIY, you're making your own lemonade or you're making your own beeswax candles like I did, but you're serving one customer at a time, right? And the same thing is you have very little overhead. So that's nice. That's nice. That's more of a startup model. So I've experienced that. Maybe you've experienced it as well. And then when I moved into the radiators and things like that, I experienced having this storefront model where it's like still word of mouth, but we also had advertising and marketing. We had the overhead, my goodness, the buildings, the products that we had to bring on board, the cleanup, that we had to have very specific environmental cleanup protocol. I mean, that in and of itself was pricey to be able to get rid of waste in that way. We had fleets of cars. I had my travel expenses, my overhead there, and we were serving multiple customers. So that is that storefront model, that brick and mortar model that the majority of us, when we think of a business or starting a business, that's what we think about, the capital of what it's going to take to get it started, right? And then we have, of course, nowadays, which we're becoming more familiar with, is this virtual model of business where you can have online advertising through search engines. It still can also be word of mouth. You're not limited to your geographic area. So that's the biggest difference between storefront and virtual. And you might still have some overhead if you're carrying product and then you're shipping it, you're drop shipping it, right? So you could have your own business in that way, and a lot of people do. And that is one of the biggest shifts that we have seen in business recently is this online model. And now we have this social e-commerce style of business, which is a beautiful opportunity as well, because you're developing relationships through shared interests, right? And you're leveraging a global economy again. You're leveraging wherever people can access those online links, those QR codes, whatever it is that you're sharing. And there's much more minimal overhead. All right. So back in the day, and I'll just tell you, as far as network marketing goes, back in the day, and my husband's been full-time for 30 years, myself for 15. But back in the day, we used to order in these big packages of products and we'd store them in our garage and then we'd try to get rid of them. And those days are really gone. We don't really do that anymore. And I'm so glad to be able to say that you don't need a garage full of products to make a business like this work. So I want to educate you on how much this has changed due to the online focus and the online platforms for success that we have nowadays. And so my husband and I, we have thrived more in this style of business, in this social e-commerce model, than we did in the previous traditional ways that we built network marketing. So when you think about, maybe, your Tupperware business or, stuff like that, that's what I'm talking about. Some of those older styles of our profession have evolved so much that we're here to share with you how you can participate in the newest version of our style of business and actually make it work for you. And so I'm excited because we're doing it right here with 3, and we're really focusing on, really what are the features and functions of each model. and how we can make them better. So when we talk about direct selling or one-to-one or that storefront where you're having customers come on board, and then of course we have this virtual online, which is more like cloud to customer, right? Business to consumer. And then now we have social e-commerce. So hopefully this makes sense. Like you go out, you do a reel, you do a video, you share a link, you send a text message, right? And you start developing relationships through relationships. It's like we always used to say, it's not who you know, but who you know, who they know, right? Who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know? That really allows us to be able to have this almost like influencer style business. So even if you're not an influencer, even if you're not savvy with all the online tech and things like that, I'm going to show you in a later slide how we're going to make this simplified for you to be able to earn money like an influencer in this day and age without all the headaches of, maybe having to know all the online details as well. So we're offering more cloud to cloud with a shared interest concept. Like, let me give you an example. I met a woman in an elevator when I was in Nebraska who I said, "Oh my goodness, like you look so fit. Did you just get done working out?" And she's like, "As a matter of fact, I did." And I said, "Oh, well, what do you do? Like you just seem really vibrant and healthy." And she shared with me that she was a naturopathic doctor. And I was like, "Oh, for how long?" Like this happened so naturally. I was just asking questions about her and who she was. And she came back and shared more with me. And I said, "I think I might have something you'd be interested in taking a look at. Would it be okay if I sent you a link?" And she's like, "Absolutely. I'd love to take a look." So I said, "Great. I'll send you the link. When would be a great time to follow up with you?" We scheduled that Zoom call, and doing this again online because she lives in Nebraska. I live in Texas. We did all of that online. And through her, we're building out a great organization through the people that she knows, all because she got excited about a link. So this is more like, consumers, where we're creating consumers through this e-commerce business and then turning those customers into business partners. So it's super exciting. And I promise you, it's so natural. It'll come naturally to those of you guys who have that entrepreneurial vision and that spirit, and you get excited about it. And even if you don't consider yourself an entrepreneur or somebody who can, talk about a lot of stuff, the business model itself, like the ecosystem of the business, is that we're going to do a lot of that legwork and footwork for you. So you don't necessarily have to be like the expert, but we have experts that you can plug people into. And that's why my husband and I said yes to what was happening here too, is because we did not want to build out a platform and a base. We wanted a platform to plug into. So you know what it reminds me of when we talk about provider products and services management, having a research and development team, having to run logistics on a day-to-day basis. Like I promise you, I saw all that every day, all day in the radiator business, right? I saw it like I saw it, like I know it, like I know it. And I didn't want those headaches anymore. Like even as a one-on-one personal trainer or doing, one-to-one personal coaching, like just like having equipment and, having to, develop out certain meal plans and, things like that, like almost I feel so spoiled because of what we have here with this platform, that those are things that I don't have to think about on a daily basis because the company's already put those together for me. But like think about Shark Tank, right? Like some people get excited. They're like, okay, like go on Shark Tank because they need the capital to continue moving forward. They have this great vision. I would always be like, okay, I have this great product idea. If I could just get it on Shark Tank, right? Okay, like that's awesome. And there's a space for that. But if you're not the person, you don't have the capital, you don't have the time, you don't want to have to be doing the management on that and the research and development, then it's okay that you plug into something like this that can help people be happier and healthier and not have to have the headaches of what that is. So the company, in other words, has put the hardware together for us already. And then when we dive in and we talk about participants or customers, right? That's us. We're the global community. We're like the software. We're the people that go out, and it's just like you would share a good movie or you share a good restaurant, like something you were passionate about, something you were excited about. Like that's how this rolls out, is that we get to be that software aspect of it, and then we still get to be paid. So as an influencer too, I'm sorry, not as an influencer, we are influenced by these things always. So we're always influenced by the economy, by the timing and the trend. So you know what, when I'm gonna have to go back to personal training on this, okay? Because radiators and AC parts, people still need them and they're on every corner. But back in the day, I'm gonna tell you and reiterate back to my story where like Lifestyles was the only gym around. and then it turned into Gold's Gym, and then all of a sudden there were all these like pop-up, in your garage or like in a, storage unit type place, popping up gyms all over the place, right? Like everybody now has a CrossFit gym, or they had, some type of a TRX, or and like so all these businesses were popping up all over, and all of a sudden I was like, okay, that's not as um I mean, there's just more competition. Do you know what I'm saying? So there's a timing to everything, and there's a trend to everything. And we are right there because I'll tell you what, as far as trend wise, people nowadays, they are very much invested in their health. They are very much wanting to age gracefully. This is a big business, like, $1 billion, and some, I think by 2030, they said something like it would be like like $1 trillion type of business where people are focused on supplements. They're focused on their health. They're focused on aging gracefully. They're focused on their hair, their skin, their nails, all that good stuff. I mean, I've even seen videos online of like biohacking and all these different types of, again, trends. And so we are on trend and having a great platform to be able to do that. So when we start sharing, I want you to know really like what sets our company apart, because I don't want you to say, "Oh, Adrienne, you're a supplement, so you're like a Me Too product and that's everywhere." I really want you to understand the difference and the value of what we're offering. And so I'm going to introduce you to here my friend Dr. Dan. He is the global leader in phytonutrient curation. So Dr. Dan is a PhD in organic chemistry from Caltech. Some might say that's pretty good. He's formulated over 70 different nutritional supplements, 16 patents granted and or pending. And he's just got a huge heart for wanting to develop products that make sense for people, where you're actually absorbing the nutrition out of it. And so he has embedded into our 6 flagship products these 11 different cellular delivery technologies that allow you to be able to absorb the products, anywhere between 30% all the way up to 95% into the cell. And I'll tell you, as a personal trainer and having a health and wellness coaching background, that matters, because I used to send people all the time to Whole Foods and GNC, and I would tell them to load up on all these products that they needed, and $500, $600, $700 later, it's the reason is because I was trying to piece together what would be perfect for them. Whereas Dr. Dan's already done that, so we get to save time and we get to save money and we get to use products that make sense, that are being absorbed. Because we used to always say you are what you eat, but the reality is you are what you absorb. And so that game has changed, right? The future is you are what you absorb. And so our company has put quite a bit of capital into showing the difference about how these products are absorbed into the body. And I mean, it's pretty incredible when you think about these third-party studies that have been done showing like with clarity, like how the products are being absorbed. And so we're able to have that sort of factual evidence there to send out to people to take a look at, because again, I'm not a scientist or a doctor, but we do have an entire scientific advisory board of 8 different medical professionals who are specialists in their own way, who were introduced just like somebody's introducing you right now to this product line, to this company, to what makes us different. They ordered the products, tried them for themselves, and then started saying, "Hey, how can we help?" And so this is like pro bono. They're volunteering their time to sit on the scientific advisory board to support Dr. Dan and our mission to have, more people on a global scale receiving quality nutrition that's being absorbed and that counts. And then, of course, we have an epigenetic study, which, if I said that word and that triggers you because you're somebody who might know a little bit about epigenetics, well, you guys, we all have genes in our body, and we used to think that we were like predisposed to certain things. And now we know that certain products and certain nutritional compounds can actually, they can change gene expression. And so that's really what this study is about. And we can definitely send you links on that if that's something you'll want to dive into. I know I geek out about it. I'm really holding back here. I want to be like completely sciencey with you right now, but I would so much rather be a good tour guide and send you guys a link so you can do your own due diligence. It's an incredible, phenomenal, fascinating study. And the fact that our company is spearheading a lot of this change is phenomenal and exciting to be a part of. And then, of course, another huge honor is the fact that all 6 of our incredible products are listed in the PDR. So you're probably like, what's the PDR, right? Well, the PDR is the physician's desk reference, as that's what it used to be called. Now it's called the prescriber's digital reference. So fast forward to the digital age that we're in, and why we're talking about this model of business is online e-commerce as well, is that we're all evolving. And so it's nice because out of the 22 nutritional companies versus the pharmaceutical companies listed in the PDR, we're one of 22 companies who not only has just one or two products listed like the others, all 6 of our products have been accepted into the PDR. And not only that, we're the only company that has a collagen product that's been accepted by the PDR. So it is a very big deal. If you go to PDR net, I believe it is, or PDR.com, something like that, you can put in 3 international. And as a health professional, maybe you're a doctor, or physician, or a naturopath or something, you can have access to that and know how to, really incorporate these products into someone's daily life, if that's something that you're after. Now, if you're somebody who's already working with a healthcare practitioner, just want a stamp of approval, you've got it. And so that's something super exciting too that we can say about our incredible products. I'm not super sciencey in that part of it. I love the studies to dive into, but I'm not a scientist. I just like to read those studies. I'm more the girl who's like, I'll just try it for myself. And I do geek out about our collagen. I think it's phenomenal that we have this incredible collagen product that's hydrolyzed, it's micronized, all this beautiful stuff. I think collagen's such a hot topic right now, but not all collagen is created equally, and ours absorbs so much better. So that'll be something you'll want to dive into. Another one of my favorite products is the Eternel, the purple pouch. Affectionately, I like to call it, when you take it, you get a glutathione glow, because it's got, glutathione in it. And really, it's like a life longevity type product, with the resveratrol. So we have beautiful products. I could talk all day long about the products. I'm not going to, but the person who invited you on can definitely send you the links and be a good tour guide in that way. And that's really what sets us apart, is those different cellular delivery modalities. It's having liposomal delivery. It's having, unique phytonutrients attached to it already. It's having already embedded into the products, prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes. All of that is stuff you're paying in addition to for other lines of products that we're already gifting to you within those 6 products. So definitely going to save time and money there. And then I want to talk to you about life timeline. Now, this is unique because we were all born at one point, right? Like, that was the past, right? We were born. I'm in my 4th decade around the sun here on this planet. I'll put it that way. And I was born at one point, and that everything up to, from when I was born to now is actually considered the past. And I want to say, knock on wood, I want to say that I've learned a lot up to this point. Like, from where I started to where I am now, I've learned a lot about what it is that I want, who I am, what are my ultimate desires, and really where I want my future headed. And when we talk about being open-minded, I encourage you to embrace the idea of being open-minded as far as what we're offering, because of the future, because things are changing, because, business modalities are developing or moving forward in a way that are, it's developing much quicker and online and all sorts of stuff. So we have to think about the vision of where we see ourselves going, right? And I know, and I'll tell you a quick story, and hopefully this isn't too personal, but I remember when I was working that business that, doing that, where I was having to travel a lot for the radiators and AC company, and I had a nanny and all this stuff. And my twin girls, I have twin girls, at the time they were, 4.5, almost 5 years old. And I remember running out the door for a weekend trip and turned around, and the girls were running towards the nanny. And I was so grateful that I had such an incredible nanny, right? I wanted to be home more, but at that time, it just wasn't feasible as a single mom. And so I turned around though, and I had this real aha moment where I was like, wait a minute, I'm really not the mom. I don't have as much freedom as I think. Like, even in doing this outside sales job and having to travel and having to be at trade shows and having to do, stuff like that, I don't have as much time freedom as I thought. And I got to tell you, after all these years, what I have found after talking to doctors, chiropractors, talking to the stay-at-home mom, talking to the, the person who just wants more freedom in their day-to-day life, like maybe they're working from home because, post all the things that we've been through, they've been positioned to be at home, but they're still working 10 to 12-hour days. Like, that's that same, like, that pulls on my heartstrings, that feeling for why you have to think about your future at this time and what that means for you, because that was the real game-changing moment for me, is turning around and going, I am going to keep working for other people and help building out their dreams, their goals, their desires, and not necessarily being the mom that I want to be, or having the time to be able to decide when I'm going to be home, what I'm going to do. It seemed like if I were to walk away even for a week's trip or a week's PTO, the whole sales teams I would develop would implode, right? And that has never happened to me here. In my 15 years of being full-time and having said yes to this opportunity, this model of business, I've never had to deal with that. And that, to me, you guys, is why I have such a passion to keep driving this vision for what we're doing forward. And so I want to ask you that same thing, that same kind of thing I asked myself. Do I want to be building out somebody else's vision for the rest of my life? Or do I have a more compelling vision I can plug into for myself? Like, what is it, that I can change about where I am right now? Because I think awareness is key, right? Even as a personal trainer, people will say to me, I don't want to step on a scale. I don't want to take a before photo. And I said, honestly, it's for you. It's for you if you can really get clear with where you're at in your life. Right. Because a lot of times, we were under that impression, like, okay, I remember my parents saying, if you get a degree and then you get a good job and then you'll get a gold watch and you'll retire. And those days are gone, my friends. Those days are gone. You've got to be in it for yourself, in it for your family, in it to where it makes sense to you to plug into in this model of a business, because this is where the future is headed. So where are you now? How can you create awareness for yourself and say, okay, what is it that I really want and why? And I'll tell you, I can go back to it every single time. It's about time freedom. Every time I talk to a health practitioner or a health professional, they ultimately know, if I don't show up to work, nobody gets paid. And that's a stressful place to be, even if you're good at what you do, even if you love what you do, right? It's a stressful place to be. So having a backup plan, having a reason to work a little bit more on the side, online, at home, in the pockets of your life, can make a huge difference for where you're at and what timing you can move out of where you're at and move forward into what it is that you really want to do. Like that ideal lifestyle, that perfect day. What does your perfect day look like? And this is the vehicle to do that. It's what I found, that you don't have to have a specialized degree. You don't have to have any special certifications or anything to come on board with a model like this. All you have to do is love on people, share why you're excited, share your passion and enthusiasm for health and wellness, share your passion and enthusiasm for being able to help people not have to maybe trade more time for dollars in traditional business, but be able to have something on the side that's building for you, right? That's helping you elevate your chances of being able to live that lifestyle faster. That's what this vehicle is. And then, of course, we're not going to leave you hanging here. We have an incredible action plan to be able to really help you develop your skills, because it's a matter of skills. Oftentimes, I don't think anyone comes out and is ready to go Mach 3 with their hair on fire, right? Unless you've done this before. But if you've never done it before and you've not or maybe you've done it before, but you haven't got the success that you thought you were going to get, that's a lot of times it's learning it right. And so when we talk about expanding the community globally, I mean, you guys, we're in 14 different countries. We pre-launched this company on February 20th. The official launch of the company was on May 22nd. We've only been in business for 10 months. We're already having great success. You think about some of the people that this company is attracting. They've also had years of experience in this profession, and they're saying yes to this because they see the model that we have as making a difference. It's a little bit different. And so we want you to learn it right. And then we want you guys to do it right. We want you to be able to plug and play, my friends, plug into the systems that we have so that you're doing it right, so that you can create success. And then, of course, teach it right. And I know that sounds kind of funky, right? Learn it right, do it right, teach it right. But it makes sense because we want you to be able to duplicate your efforts. We want you to be able to have a great experience here where you're getting excited, you're having a great project experience. Like, these products are not on trial, they work, right? We're listed in the PDR for crying out loud. So they work. When people put them in their body, they work, and they're going to have great experience. And then all of a sudden they're going to say, well, gosh, I'd love for my mom to try this, or my aunt, or my sister, or my business partner, or my other friend, right? So we want you to be able to learn it right so you can do it right, so you can teach it right. And the best way we know how is to have this turnkey business system ready and available for you now. So we have this ready and available for you now. Isn't that fantastic? 10 months in the business and we're operating like a multi-billion-dollar company. And that is because the leadership that's come together to collaborate and co-create what we're doing here is bar none. I mean, phenomenal. I'll just mention her name. If you guys didn't see her on last night, she did a phenomenal job sharing why this business is different, why this model is different. But she's had a great track record and success in this business. And that's somebody I want to learn from. So when we talk about mentorship, learn it, do it, teach it, these are the people who've helped put this system together. So I feel confident that you plugging into this is going to help you create the success that you desire in this type of a model of business, in this e-commerce business. And so to do that, we have an incredible app that you can download that, when you become a member, it's $30. And also what you get with that is this app. You just download it and it's got materials ready and available for you, including a workbook. A welcome orientation workbook. Wow, right? Okay, so we call it WOW, and I love it. And I love the beautiful Sedona Mountains. Kim lives in Sedona in the background, and that's there for a reason. We want to be able to, really be able to impact and shorten the amount of time it's going to take you to create that success here by gifting you this incredible workbook. So let's dive into some of the things that are available. So we have this digital tool which talks about these opportunity showcases, the 3 movement, being able to have a preset financial rewards plan already in there so that maybe you don't know how to talk about that yet, but being able to send somebody over that link and they can even scan the QR code there and have a complete presentation from one of our leaders that we know, like, and trust that can, train on that for you. So you're learning while you're earning. Right. And so you're earning and learning at the same time here. So we're shortening that gap. And we also have another digital tool that's more product focused. So the first one is, for people who are interested in the opportunity, we can send those over to you. The second one is for those that are interested in the products and the science behind what we're doing. And so this is key and important to have because not everybody is going to have a background in health and wellness, but they just know they like feeling good. They like living in a body that feels, fantastic, right? On a daily basis. Not a lot of us live in bodies that we go, wow, I love the way I feel every day. And so it's important to be able to share quick tools from professionals that know how to eloquently share that. So like videos by Dr. Dan, our formulator, the scientific advisory board, a product video on every product. So we have that as well for you guys to plug into. That's what also makes this turnkey. And then, of course, we have support tools from our brand ambassadors teaching you really, what is it going to take to get started? Okay, well, how do I launch somebody appropriately? We've got a new distributor orientation video, right? We have the simple ABC building blocks on how to do this from Kim, from people who've had a great track record and a success. We've got launching your business, daily activities for success, how to do events, so you guys, all of the tools are there. All of the tools are there for you to be able to plug into. And hopefully what you'll see is you go, okay, I'm fully supported here if I were to make a decision about what this company is doing today and how I can be a part of it. And so, yes, turnkey. And then we want to talk a little bit about the cycles of growth and transformation and how you can participate in that. So first, we want you to learn, right? And then from learning, you can do. And then from doing, you can teach. And that's that duplication aspect, is that you're leading. So when you're learning, doing, teaching, you're leading. Right. And that is really what drives change and allows us to be able to build out massive organizations globally all over the world. So truly global distribution centers that are making a difference in those areas. And I want to reiterate and bring it back to, are you that person who wants more? Are you that person that's going, hey, I would like to participate in what this company is doing? At a minimum, I would love to try the products and have a great product experience. At a maximum, I see the value in what they're doing with this social e-commerce. And so we have some incredible packs right now that you can dive into, but there's one particular pack I want to share with you a little bit more about and why. And the reason that is we only have 48-ish more hours, or up until they're gone, for you to be able to start your experience with three, your product experience and your entrepreneurial experience with three. And it's called a founding member pack. And the reason that is it's $19.60 for the pack, and it's going to give you 7 months supply of products. And of course, we're going to grandfather you in as a founding member. Do you remember how old we are? Only 10 months old. So this is for people who want a first mover's advantage. This is for people who are like, I don't want to miss out on the growth of where this company's headed, because mark my words, we are headed towards massive growth. And I want everyone to be able to participate in that in a way that makes sense. So we're offering a 2% revenue share with the other founding members in a pool right now that will really be beneficial to you, maybe not tomorrow, but in the future, maybe in the next couple of weeks, because it's a bonus that pays out weekly. So we're really rewarding those who are saying, hey, I like what you guys are doing, and I'd like to be a part of this and help pioneer this global mission. And so that's why that pack's so important. Now, we do have other packs ranging all the way down to $200 to get started. I don't want to box anybody and say, oh, that's the only pack to come on board with. It's not. The person who invited you on here can send you a link to several different packs and products. You can look at the pricing on those and see what makes sense for you. I would rather you get started than not, my friends. But over the next 2 days, we are literally running these Zoom presentations back to back with multiple leaders, speaking to the validity of what we're doing with this new social e-commerce business model and this founding member pack, because we know time is of the essence right now. Like they're going to be gone. We issued these out 20 months ago. We're down to the wire. And so if it makes sense for you, when you get that information from the person that brought you on, what I would encourage you to do is get started with that founding member pack, and then go out and let's talk to a few key friends, people that you know, like, and trust, and let them know what you've said yes to. Not that you're going to be an expert on it right away. The person that invited you on here can help you with the words and the verbiage, but invite those people on to the next Zoom. So we have another Zoom that's going to be happening, I believe, at 7 p.m. And ask the person, they'll send you a link. But these Blitz calls are happening right now over the next 48 hours because we're trying to not trying, we are capturing, really incredible entrepreneurial minded people who are saying yes to this, and they want to take advantage of what we're doing with the founding member pack up until it's gone. So, okay, so here's my suggestion to you. Get back to the person that invited you on. We are so excited, want to be able to welcome you, and then invite as many people as you can on to the next available Zoom that's happening, and they'll send you a link for that same Zoom link that we're on right now, different leaders speaking. So it's kind of fun. You get to hear this and from multiple voices, from multiple perspectives. So you don't just have to take my word for it, right? You can take multiple people's words for what we're doing here and really learn about why we're so excited. So, all right, I hope to welcome you guys into 3 officially, and I'm excited to see you guys in the next presentation. All right, guys, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.